The problem with most South African people right now is that they are lazy, they have a poor mind.
So I have heard a lot of things about Nigeria, and I keep wondering, please, is it the same Nigeria that I reside in, that I was born in? If you want to say that we have Nigerians that go outside Nigeria to misbehave and, commit crime and do things that are wrong, I agree. And I'm not disputing it that we don't have bad eggs in Nigeria. But please don't come on social media and tell me that majority of the Nigerians, are you okay? And I'm talking to one man on this street of YouTube who goes about making his video calling out Nigerians. It's fine, call out the bad eggs, but don't sit on your platform and open your mouth and say majority of Nigerians are the ones committing crime. No, we have bad eggs. Even inside our country, Nigeria, here, we have bad eggs. We are even praying that God should help us. But please, don't go about saying majority. No, because majority of Nigerians are the good Nigerians. Because do you know how many million Nigerians that there are? So if you're saying majority, how many are the majority that are in South Africa? South Africa contain, majority of Nigeria actually. Nigerians, yes, we travel a lot. And I'm not saying, hear me loud and hear me clear on these conversations, both Nigeria and South Africa, Ghana, Kenya, whatever. I'm not saying that Nigerians don't commit crimes. I'm not saying that we don't have bad eggs in Nigerians. And I'm not saying when you catch those bad eggs, don't deal with them. Please, help us deal with them. When you catch those bad Nigerians in your country, deal with them. The ones that are doing those bad things, that deal with them. But you see, when you are making your conversations, just like I make my conversations, I don't come out and say all South Africans. Some of the South Africans are xenophobic. Some of the South Africans are Nigerian phobic. Some of the South Africans are very, very honest and very, very truthful. And some of them, they don't hate fellow Nigerians. So I cannot come out here and say majority of the South Africans are xenophobic. That's a stupid conversation. How? When I know it is not majority. For instance, there are some honest South Africans that I have been coming across that have been spilling the truth and nothing but the truth. Like these people that are going to be talking to us here today, telling us that, oh, some of the South Africans, they are very lazy. Yes, some of the South Africans, they complain that people are taking their jobs, are taking their this and that, but they're not ready to put in the hard work that some of the foreigners put in. So please, we're going to go listen to these conversations of these individuals right now, and we're going to hear the honest things they have to say. But in as much as we're listening to them, note that I, as a Nigerian, I am in support of when any country catch the bad eggs. Yes, catch them and deal with them. But also know that even in your country, there are bad eggs. Just like the South African men who were dealing drugs and they were caught, white South Africans. The white South African men, even the black South Africans, so let us be clear on that. That yes, there are bad eggs in Nigeria that are doing the wrong things out there, but they are not majority. Let's go listen to these people who are coming with these conversations to tell us how lazy South Africans are not ready to work, but they're ready to put the blame on others. I'll be back.
The problem with most South African people right now is that they are lazy, they have a poor mindset, and they don't want to work hard. Let me tell you something. There's nothing that's going to come to you for free just because you're a South African citizen and you own a South African ID. That's not how the world works. You still need to go out there to the world and work hard like everybody else. How do you expect to be rich if your mentality is still poor? If you still believe in poor things? If you still think like a poor person? You will never be rich. You still want to blame the government. You still want to blame foreigners for your problems and you expect to be rich. You will never be rich. Rich people are self-accountable to themselves. Everything is about them. They invest in themselves. They learn. They make sure their life is theirs. They take full accountability for their life and everything that happens in their life. That's why they are rich, because it's about them. It's not about other people. You will stay there blaming other people, believing one day is one day. Your one day is one day will be you being more poor when the one day comes. Because other people, they are believing one day is one day, but they're investing, they are working, they are not blaming other people, they are blaming themselves for the mistakes in their lives. It's not someone else's fault, it's your fault. So your mentality is poor. Your mind state is poor. Your mindset is poor. You are moving like a poor person. You are living a life of a poor person. So you will never be rich unless you change your mind state, unless you change how you think. Change your perspective. Maybe you will be rich. Introduce yourself to rich people. Learn the things rich people know. Teach yourself the things rich people know. Maybe you will be rich. Until then, you'll be poor, I'm telling you. You'll die poor. Nothing is gonna change. They're lying to you when they say one day is one day. There's no one day is one day. One day is one day. Unless you change your mindset. If you don't change your mindset, your one day is one day will be you being more poor.
Rise and shine, my darlings. I just want to talk about this thing that I saw on Twitter. It's crazy. Like, you know, sometimes, I'm not saying all South Africans, obviously not, but the thinking process of some South Africans must be examined. It must be. There needs to be an experiment held for you guys. Because I saw this tweet which was like, oh, I went to Port Elizabeth and I couldn't believe it. There's not a single SME that was owned by a South African. We've been knowing this, but anyway, and then they were like, something deeper must be going on. There must be a South African cleansing happening. Are you guys for reals? No one is stopping you from starting your own tuck shop, starting your own small business. But you're too busy on Twitter signing a petition for a modeling gig, saying, oh, we don't want foreigners to be Miss South African. Have you gone and seen your neighborhood? You're busy saying that, wow, buying bread from a Pakistani. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? It's actually phenomenal. Like, how do you guys not own tuck shops in your own country? Go to Soweto, go to Deep Sloot, go to anyway. Really, how many Pakistani, we even call them Pakistani shops. Sorry if that is rude. I'm so sorry. I'm not xenophobic. I'm not racist. Trust me. I'm just a woman with thoughts. But yeah, we go to, you know, shops, tuck shops, little supermarkets. All of them are owned by Pakistanis and Indians. So guys, but how does that make you feel, knowing that someone traveled all the way from Pakistan to start a business in your backyard, that you, your family, your neighborhood, your friends failed to start a whole tuck shop? Like, now you are dependent. Not that you're dependent on the tuck shop, but what I mean is you frequently use your money to buy there. Like, I'm not saying don't support Pakistanis. I don't think they did anything wrong. Absolutely not. If you guys can't wake up in your own country and you are busy being Twitter warriors instead of, you know, being business savvy, you know, starting your own businesses. Because if you look at it, most businesses are owned by foreigners or white people. There's a very small percentage of businesses actually owned by South Africans. Very small business, like black South Africans, black South Africans. I don't know what you guys will be doing, but hey, you can't blame foreigners if you guys are not. No one stopped you from starting your own tuck shop. It's not like you were starting a mega corporation. It's not that hard, but guys couldn't do it. Now people all the way from Pakistani are owning majority of SMEs. That's madness. And you guys are now enraged, but your rage comes from a modeling gig. You have time to sign a petition, but not time to start a business plan. Shame. I'm so sorry. But that's the reality of not thinking. Critical thinking. If you like critical thinking, this is the reality. This is what you produce. But hey, I hope one day you guys can own your businesses and, you know, do something. Do something. There's a lot to do, hey?
You look at guys from Zambia, guys from Zimbabwe, guys from Nigeria, you know, guys from Tanzania. They come to South Africa with a pipe dream, bro. Like, they come here trying to live the US dream in South Africa. And they do it, bro. And they do it in 1 year, they do it in 6 months, they do it in 1.5 years. And they do stuff that South African people take 7 or 8 years or sometimes never achieve. They manage to do it in a year, and that's just because of the standard that they expected to be on. So their work ethic is obviously a lot higher, and we can learn from that. I love the concept of learning from each other. You know, there's always something you can learn from another person. So if we're looking at what these guys are doing really well, we must look at their blueprint and say, okay, cool, how many hours a day are they working? You know, are they working 6 hours a day and clocking out, or are they doing 24 hours or 20 hours and sleeping for the rest of it, you know? And we need to look at stuff like that, because that will encourage South Africans to understand what their blueprint should also be.
I hear people saying that the ANC has got so many. You always hear people saying South Africans are lazy, foreigners, that is. And why they say that is because where you have so many people on welfare in that country, you'll have a guy who will enter that very same country today, and he will put up a little box on the corner of a traffic light and start selling cigarettes, and before you know it, he's already got a spaza in 2-3 years' time. I am a Zimbabwean that doesn't want people to know where I live. But every time I need a plumber and I phone to look for a plumber, I get a Zimbabwean on the other side wanting to come and do my plumbing, so that and I don't want that Zimbabwean to come to my house. I hunt for the South African. I even hunt for white South Africans and Indian South Africans. And they're almost difficult to get, because it's a Zimbabwean who's going to come do my plumbing. It's a Zimbabwean who's going to come and do my electricity. When I want gas to be delivered to my house, it's a Zimbabwean who wants gas to deliver the gas to my house. Every service that I need to be done at my house where I don't have a Zimbabwean knowing where I live and how I live, it's being done by Zimbabweans. Plumbing, electricity, gas delivery, someone to fix my remote for the gate. It's a Zimbabwean who's coming. The security guards. You know, you and I used to share. Most of those security guards were from Zim. Now, the painter, Zim. All those opportunities that could have been taken up by South Africans who would not therefore need welfare. And most of those Zim guys who come and do the gas, who come and give you your electricity, who come and do your plumbing, who come and do your painting, they drive cars, they live comfortable lives. Whites, black South Africans should be living those lives. Now my question is, why are they missing those opportunities? Because we've had this discussion before. They think that they don't want to do those jobs. I want an office job. But the Zimbabwean guy is coming to do it. We need to change the mindset of the people, and that's where the ANC got it wrong. They did not social engineer the people to understand the roles they're supposed to play to build a nation. White apartheid South Africa knew its role. They knew that we're going to enslave the blacks, but while we're enslaving the blacks, we are enslaving them so that we can have the better jobs. But we have to work.
We have to work.
We have to work to build a nation. Zimbabweans can be complacent as well. You don't see them behave the way they behave here. It's because they can't survive if they don't work. But sometimes even at home, they don't want to work because my cousin's going to send me money from the UK. My cousin's going to send me money from South Africa. They don't want to work, some of the guys there. But yet there's land that they can farm. There's mining that they can do. There's mining services that they can supply the mines. There's construction that they can do. They can provide the stones for construction, provide the cement for construction. They can be the construction company. There's so much to be done there, but they don't want to do the hard work. And I've said to you before, even I don't want to do the hard work. But we must accept when the things are not working because I don't want to do the work, and where our government has failed. Where you don't want to do the work, yet the work is there, you are the problem. And that's a problem we are seeing in South Africa and Zimbabwe. We have Nigerians coming to Zimbabwe. I'll tell you a story. So this Nigerian guy comes. He sees all these buildings that are full of tenants and stuff. Then he goes and says, let me talk to the owners of the buildings. Goes to talk to the owners of buildings. A lot of them are white. And says, what are the problems you're seeing with your building? And this guy's saying, I struggle with my tenants paying the rent. Then this guy says, why don't you give me your building? How much do you make every month from your tenants? The guy will say $32,000 every single month. You say, right, I'll give you 38. Give me the building. This guy says, what? You give me 38? I say, I'll give you 38 every single month without a doubt. The white guy says, that's fine. The first thing that the Nigerian guy comes, he ends all the leases. Then he says, you're no longer going to have a whole floor to one company. I'm going to partition the building into little cubicles, little cubicles, little cubicles. Then he puts in his own people. Everybody is now paying a fraction of what the guys that used to be in there were paying for a small little space now. But everybody can afford to pay the rent. The guy gives the white guy his $38,000, and then he keeps $115,000 to himself. And he's become a multi-millionaire in Zimbabwe. From having a different approach to leasing buildings. No more leasing 10 floors of buildings for one company. I don't want the big companies. I want small little individuals that just want a space to showcase their products to millions of people who come into town. They're teaching us that in Zim. Right? Because we were wasting the opportunity. We were wasting space. We were used to abundance. Didn't use the abundance.
Right, guys, you heard them there. Nigerians, please help us and do better. Nigerians that are traveling, try and travel legal, so that all these shames and conversations that we are having will reduce. I know that even with all this preaching, we still have Nigerians that will misbehave, and that's why I don't hesitate to bring that conversations here as a blogger. I will bring it for people to hear. When there's a bad egg in my country, I will not come and sit here and say, let me cover it. All my Nigerian brothers and sisters, they are saints. No, we know. It's a given. We have the bad eggs. But don't put it all on Nigerians. You have your own internal errors also, as we have our own. And we hope that the African countries tomorrow, they are going to get better. I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.